You know the feeling, right? We all do. You're sitting at your desk, bathed in that soft glow of your laptop screen. There's a looming deadline. You can almost physically feel it, this universal, clammy, sinking sensation right in the pit of your stomach. You know exactly what you need to do. It's important to you. It might even be absolutely crucial for your career or your education or your health. Yet, inexplicably, you find yourself, what? Watching a video about how to organize a pantry you don't even own? Or scrolling through your social media feed for literally the 15th time today? Why? Why on earth do we purposefully put off the very things we actually want and need to achieve? It honestly just feels like self-sabotage, doesn't it?
Well, welcome to our explainer. Today we're going on a bit of a journey, a quiet, curious exploration into the hidden science behind our daily delays. We're definitely not here to judge, and we're not going to prescribe any harsh, punishing productivity hacks either. Instead, we're going to look at the data, explore the architecture of our own minds, and uncover the really fascinating, deeply human reasons why we hesitate. Because once we understand the why, figuring out the how to fix it becomes a whole lot clearer.
Chapter 1. The Universal Delay.
So, it turns out procrastination isn't just some modern glitch invented by the smartphone era. If we look back through history, ancient Greek philosophers, guys like Socrates and Aristotle, they were observing this exact behavior centuries ago. They even had a specific word for it, akrasia. It describes the state of acting against your better judgment. It's that baffling moment when you know for a fact that you should do one thing, but you voluntarily choose to do something else entirely. It's actually kind of comforting, isn't it? Knowing that some of the greatest thinkers in human history also struggled to just sit down and get their work done. This is a timeless, deeply human struggle.
And realizing that completely flips our cultural narrative. For generations, society has fed us this toxic myth that procrastination is simply laziness, a moral failing, a lack of willpower, discipline, or just really bad time management. But the scientific reality, it is entirely different. As modern psychology reveals, procrastination is not a problem of action. Actually, scratch that. It's not a time problem at all. It is an emotion regulation and mood management problem.
Chapter 2. An emotion management problem.
To truly understand this, we need to look at what we are actually running away from. This quote from researcher Timothy Peichel perfectly captures the paradigm shift. He says, procrastination is not a time management problem, it is an emotion management problem. I mean, really think about that for a second. When you avoid that big report or put off studying for that exam, you aren't actually avoiding the keyboard or the textbook. You are avoiding the negative, uncomfortable feelings that those tasks provoke inside you.
These right here are the invisible culprits: fear of failure, frustration, anxiety, crushing boredom, self-doubt. When we're faced with a task that triggers these specific discomforts, our brain instinctively looks for an escape hatch. It wants short-term emotional relief. And in our modern world, well, that relief is literally just a click away. We choose the instant dopamine hit of a video game or a social feed over the long-term goal simply to soothe our current emotional state. We aren't lazy. We're just trying to feel better right now.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is, if you do this, you are far from alone. Research shows that 75% of students are academic procrastinators. And even more telling, 15 to 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators. For them, it's not just putting off a single term paper once in a while, it's a lifestyle of delayed doctor's appointments, late bills, and missed opportunities. It is a widespread behavioral pattern that crosses all demographics.
Chapter 3. Inside the Procrastinating Brain. So what is actually happening physically inside our heads? It really comes down to a battle between two key regions. On one side, we have the amygdala, the brain's emotional threat detector. When a task makes you feel anxious or inadequate, the amygdala fires up, screaming danger and urging you to retreat. On the other side is your prefrontal cortex, the rational, logical planner that knows, hey, you need to finish this project to get promoted. When you procrastinate, your prefrontal cortex is essentially losing a wrestling match to your amygdala.
And this tug-of-war isn't just a metaphor. According to a study from the Ruhr University Bochum, MRI scans reveal that individuals with poor action control, chronic procrastinators, actually have a physically larger amygdala. Furthermore, the functional connection between their amygdala and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, which is the part that helps select and regulate actions, is less pronounced, meaning their brains are literally wired to be more sensitive to the negative emotions of a task, which makes them hesitate and seek immediate comfort.
This neurological reality translates directly into our personality traits. Data from a massive meta-analysis on self-regulatory failure reveals a really strong negative correlation between conscientiousness and procrastination. Specifically, traits like organization, self-control, and the ability to resist distractions act like shields against delay. When those are low, we fall into what's called an intention-action gap. We fully intend to work hard, but when the moment comes, our emotions just hijack the steering wheel.
Chapter 4. Temporal Motivation Theory.
This brings us to the mechanics of time, introducing a concept called temporal myopia. It's basically a psychological blind spot. As humans, we naturally and heavily discount future rewards. We value immediate, short-term gratification way more than a long-term payoff. Think of it like having an instant gratification monkey in your brain. To that monkey, playing a video game provides a guaranteed immediate reward right now. An A on a test 3 weeks from now, that's way too far away for the monkey to care about.
Let's watch how temporal motivation theory plays out over a month-long project. We've all been here. In week 1, the deadline is a distant mirage. The utility of socializing is sky high. Week 2, the value of studying remains totally flatlined. Week 3, the horizon closes in, and the anxiety starts bubbling up. By week 4, the sheer panic of impending failure acts as a massive jolt. Suddenly, the utility of studying skyrockets past the desire to socialize. We finally get to work, not because we suddenly found discipline out of nowhere, but because the fear of the deadline finally outweighed the discomfort of the task itself.
But running on that kind of adrenaline has a really steep cost. Extensive research links chronic procrastination to a severe doom loop. Living in that constant cycle of avoidance, followed by intense, panic-driven sprints, leads to chronic stress. It erodes self-esteem and directly correlates with poorer health behaviors. We're talking delaying medical checkups, lack of sleep, and increased illness. It's a heavy, heavy burden to carry.
Chapter 5. Forgiveness and Taking Action.
But there is a way out. Sometimes we just have to outsmart our own brains. Take the great author Victor Hugo, for example. In 1830, facing an impossible deadline for a book he'd been putting off for a year, he literally had his servants lock all his clothes away. Left with nothing but a large shawl, he couldn't leave the house, he couldn't entertain guests. He created what psychologists call a commitment device, a choice made in the present that forces your hand in the future. And you know what? It worked. He finished The Hunchback of Notre Dame right on time.
Now, you probably don't need to lock up your clothes, but you can use these 3 actionable, data-backed steps to bridge that gap. Step 1, forgive yourself. Seriously. Studies show that procrastinators who forgive themselves for past delays actually procrastinate less in the future because they release the shame that triggers the avoidance in the first place. Step 2, create if-then plans to automate your actions, like, if it is 9 a.m., then I will open my laptop. And step 3, the 5-minute rule. Just commit to doing the dreaded task for 5 minutes. It dramatically lowers the emotional barrier to entry, and usually, once you start, the momentum just naturally carries you forward. And that brings us full circle. Back to those ancient Greeks. Aristotle gave us the antonym to akrasia. He called it enkrateia, to be in power over oneself. It's not about achieving robotic, flawless productivity. Nobody does that. It's about recognizing our emotional hurdles with compassion, lowering the friction to starting, and slowly, gently reclaiming our agency. It's about bridging the gap between who we are right now and who we want to be.
So the next time you feel that familiar urge to pull away from the work that matters, remember your amygdala. Remember the instant gratification monkey. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. You aren't lazy, you're just human. Take a deep breath, forgive the delay, and give it just 5 minutes. So the next time you face a looming deadline, ask yourself, are you managing your time or are you just managing your fear? Because in the end, curiosity drives us to ask why we struggle. Data guides us to the real answers. And understanding changes us. Until next time, stay curious.